Hey guys, welcome back. Got a few things for you today. First, we have in the background there a video that's a level 10 engineer car. Anyone who's reached level 10 with the engineers can construct that. That'll be up on the exhibition. You do need about 40 coins or so, well, 80 coins say, to fully flesh that out. That's pretty simple to get by level 10 just by selling the petrol or whatever scrap that you get from all those victories that you'll be having. And you can build that masterpiece. It's a front fighting car, very agile, and I'm going to actually use that at the end of this video to demonstrate how the gun mounts work with that. So enjoy that while you listen to me ramble on with the other two parts of the show, which will be sort of tying together what I've been showing in the first three videos that I've done so far. And that would be the different types of detail pieces, the detail pieces that give structure, bumpers or passive melee pieces, and then grills. And there's seems to be a bit of, I don't know if you want to say controversy or misunderstanding, or maybe I'm not communicating this very well. When I say don't use detail pieces to armor your cabin, I mean don't take those structure pieces that give structure to the cabin and make layers of them to protect your cabin. They just aren't efficient at that. And the reason they're not efficient at that is because the amount of damage it takes to destroy them will be the same amount of damage that comes off the cabin once they are destroyed. There are schemes where you can space the armor out, the detail pieces. You can arrange them so that explosions aren't able to deal their full amount of damage because there's hollow spots, and hollow spots don't take damage. But it's not really reasonable. It's not efficient on weight or volume to think that you can actually create an effective spaced armor using only those detail pieces. It's not what the game designers really intended or had in mind. The intent with these pieces was that you use them to protect other parts of the vehicle, modules like engines, generators, etc. And by doing that, an attacker has a choice. What am I going to do? Am I going to shoot the cabin? Well, if I shoot the cabin, they're still going to have an engine. They can go fast. If I shoot the cabin, well, they're still going to have a generator. All their weapons are going to work. If I shoot the cabin, I'm not shooting the weapons, so they can fire back at me. So it kind of encourages attackers to say, you know what, I'm just going to go after those other pieces and see if I can take off weapons, see if I can blow up a gas can, see what might happen there. And that by doing that, they know that, well, you know what, I still reduce the cabin structure, so when I go for the cabin structure has been reduced. Whereas if they go right for the cabin and someone turns their vehicle around a little bit, or they get on a bad side, well, now they got to shoot all those structure points one more time. So it gives an attacker something to think about. Bumpers, they have damage resistance to melee. Well, okay, so we're going to use them as bumpers, because if we absolutely have to use a detail piece to block fire, well, we can use a detail piece that's a lot lighter than a bumper to block, a few shots, one shot, two shots. So why would I use a bumper up doing something like that when I can use a bumper what it's made for, which is to stop incoming melee damage? And then we have grills, kind of the star of the show because of their high damage resistance. Those, they're light. I can use a lot of those for the same weight or less weight than certainly bumpers or detail pieces, structure pieces. And I get the great benefit of blocking a lot of explosive damage. So how does this all tie together? So it ties together like this. Bumpers, passive melee weapons, they go where they go. For the cabin, on the outside of the cabin, that's where you put your grills. That's going to stop incoming cannon damage, rockets, grenade launchers. For the rest of the car, you build the car using those structure pieces, you tuck all those components inside, You fill in empty spaces with as many structure pieces as you feel like, as much as you feel like you can carry to add structure points to your cabin. You put a shell around that using your heaviest structure pieces. On those structure pieces, remaining drills go. This will protect those pieces from also any kind of incoming explosive damage. Autocannons, I think I left those out. Great against autocannons. Machine guns, will those still penetrate? Yeah, of course they will. Nothing's stopping machine guns. They're probably the most efficient damage dealers that we have. So the outside ring of defense is going to be grills, and that's to protect what's behind them from explosive damage from whatever the source. So the grills will protect the cabin. The grills will protect the large structure pieces that form the body of your car, and those large structure pieces that form the body of the car, they're protecting what's behind them, which should be smaller structure pieces, as well as the important modules that you've chosen to use, engines, generator, whatever it is that you have in there that you want to hide away from the rest of the world. And that's the priority of setting up your armor scheme. Okay, enough of that. It's time to see some grills being used as gun mounts. Okay guys, we're going to use our new level 10 ride to demonstrate some grills as gun mounts and as protection here. What we're going to do is we have two cords, one on each side. This cord is mounted on a van side with a structure of 18 points. And this cord is mounted on a grill number 1. We're going to do a couple tests. One will be, well, two actually, will be with the guns in the forward position, and one will be with them mounted in the rear position. Now, one thing when we're looking at using a grill as a mount, we need to be sure that the grill has more structure than whatever we're going to put on it. Otherwise, we'd do it the other way around, wouldn't we? This cord has 60 points of structure. The grill has 11 points. But we know because the grill has damage resistance, effectively, this structure is 110. So whatever weapon, cannon, machine gun will have to put out 110 points of damage to remove this grill. Whereas for the machine gun, it needs to do 60 points of damage. Over here, the van side's going to take 18 and it's going to call it quits, which probably isn't going to be too good for the cord. Okay, firing today, we're going to use a rapier. First up, we will also show you how the machine guns do, because machine guns are the bane of existence, really. And we'll have a scope so you can see where we're aiming at. Okay, so the angles that we'll be firing at, once we'll be doing dead on, okay, and that'll show you how this gun mount actually shields both sides a little bit, as well as the rapier and the cabin. And then we'll be doing at an angle, okay, and that's an arc like this is probably the best to fight this vehicle at. You really can't armor 360 degrees effectively. It's very hard, and why bother? You have an agile vehicle here, armor it, protect it one direction, fight it in that direction, and you'll get good results out of it. Okay, so that's laid out the groundwork for the tests, and let's get to them. Okay, from dead on with the autocannon. Okay guys, supposedly I'm shooting at that machine gun on the left, and obviously I'm not hitting it, and obviously I didn't take this clip, as well as a number of other clips out that don't show exactly what it is that I wanted to see happen. And the reason is because we're seeing something else that's important, and that's the fact that each of these pieces that make up a vehicle is a little bit larger than what you see in the GUI. They're about a square and a half, 2 squares, 2 welding squares larger as far as incoming damage is concerned. And what I'm trying to say is that anything that's incoming, projectile-wise, that's going to do damage is going to be triggered when it's within a minimum of a square and a half of any kind of detail piece. So if an autocannon's trying to sneak past, if a machine gun trying to sneak past, it's not going to happen. It's going to have to stop and it's going to have to apply damage. If it's explosive damage, that's fantastic because that's what you want. You want the damage to be triggered early. That's good. If it's a machine gun, well, that's okay too, as long as you're triggering it, where you wanted it to happen. So sometimes you see here, I'm firing away. Well, I'm hitting that gun mount is what I'm hitting, or I'm hitting a little bit of the gun mount in the cabin. I'm not hitting the machine gun. Finally, when you do see the machine gun flying off, well, that's because I am hitting it ultimately, but I'm not hitting the piece that it's sitting on because the machine gun's actually kind of protecting it. I'm aiming at the machine gun, I'm hitting the machine gun, fantastic. So, wow, the van side lived. Who cares? It's not what we want. We want the machine gun to live. So, all through this, you're seeing how just the gun mount is protecting those two guns that are mounted on the side, how it's protecting the cabin. And that might not be what you would expect. But the effective health of just that tiny little grill, the grill number 1 on the side, the effective health of that is 110. And it weighs in at a whopping 9 kilograms. If you wanted to get that same health score, same structure, you could use a truck door. And a truck door has 114 structure, but it weighs 430 kilograms. So you could see that there's no logic in trying to do something with detail pieces, structure pieces that grills are designed to do. It's just not efficient. Power score wise, it seems like grills are a poor choice when actually, if you look at the power score and the weight for the effective health that you're getting from a grill, they're far superior to any other detail piece in the game. They are the best. They are the bee's knees. I don't know any other way to say it. If any attempt to duplicate the protection that you can get from grills with detail pieces is just doomed to fail. It will not work. They just have far better health for what you're paying in terms of power score and weight. When I take and try and come in at this from a side angle where I can get a better shot at the guns, then you can see that that's when the little grill number 1 is still protecting that cord that's sitting on top of it, because since the cord is now moved to the back, the projectile has to try to fit over the top of the gun mount, and it can't do that. You actually have to hold up far higher. You'd have to shoot over the top of the gun to actually just hit the gun and not have your shot triggered by the gun mount. And of course, you saw the van side just gets destroyed first. And there you go, the cord just falls off because van side can only take 18 points of structure and it's gone, whereas this grill piece is taking its 100 points and there you go, have a nice day. You don't see 100 points floating up, but that damage was done, just resisted, so you only see the small value coming up over that. Well, here's machine guns, and really, machine guns really are the devil's handiwork in this game. If it wasn't for machine guns, you might have a case with using detail pieces to protect a cabin somewhat, because you can, well, geez, I don't have any grills, or hey, I want to be different. Let me stick some detail pieces in odd directions and stuff, and I'll only catch half damage. Yeah, okay, that can sort of work if machine guns didn't exist. The problem with machine guns, or what's great about them, is that they're so efficient when they do their damage. Once they start doing damage, they keep doing damage along the whole path, and that's what explosion damage doesn't do. So machine guns, miniguns, these things exist to scrub detail pieces off your car. Small detail pieces, that's what these weapons do. So that's why it's just not effective to use those pieces as armor. And I don't think you can make a case for wrapping the front of your car in 430 kilogram truck doors and say, yeah, that's a good effective job that I've done. Hey, for those of you that made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Hit subscribe, and we'll be back next time with some more info for you. Cheers.